You're gonna die for some chickens.
Someone is.
Top 10 moments. That's right. Thank you to HBO Max for sponsoring today's video. You know, HBO Max came to us and they said, Achievement Hunter, Mr. Hunter, what are your favorite shows on our catalog? And we said, well, that's easy. You have a lot of them. But one of them is Game of Thrones. We've all watched it. We've all seen it. We all have strong feelings about it. But we got the entire Achievement Hunter team together to figure out what our favorite moments were. Now, these aren't super integral to the story. They're funny, they're satisfying, they're surprising, and epic. Epic moments. There's tons of moments that we're probably going to miss. But these are our 10 favorites. So Matt, Michael, and I are going to talk about it. And if we miss any moments, please let us know in the comments. But without further ado, top 10. So this is a clip I wanted to start this off with because it's one of my favorite moments. It almost has no real reason like to be here as far as story or as far as like twists go. But it was just so out of the blue, so like just like one of those comedic moments that
I'm hungry.
And hungry.
It's very and usually with the Hound, comedic moments is murder.
Yeah.
He's taking out his sword and he's chopping people to bits.
I mean, it also kind of goes to show like how much they bond throughout the course of being on the road, like Arya and the Hound.
Come pouring out your
Yeah, I mean as much as you can with the Hound.
It's true.
in this room.
There's even
You don't
this.
need a lot with them though.
You lived your life.
There's like this look on Arya's face, like, oh man,
You're gonna die for some chickens.
you should just give this guy his chickens.
Yeah.
Someone is.
I love this.
You have no
Die
idea.
for some chickens. Somebody is.
Oh, she knows. Look at her. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
It's just such a good moment because it's so funny, but at the same time, like you said, Matt, it highlights the relationship between Arya and the Hound building.
Yeah.
And then off he goes into a fight.
Off he goes. I wonder who wins.
I don't know.
And then you got the wildfire gets set during the Battle of Blackwater. Huge moment. in
Very
the show.
tense.
Yeah.
This whole
Very
build-up.
plot heavy.
Yeah.
They got all the. I call it green goo. They call it wildfire.
It's just slime, man.
Yeah. They're getting goo.
But yeah, this is like there's so many things that reference back to this moment throughout the rest of the show. It's where Tyrion gets the scar on his face.
Yeah.
It's where he kind of has the thing of like, yeah, I've fought.
Yeah,
he's out there with a little helmet on and an axe.
Bronn becomes a knight. Sir Bronn of the Blackwater, right there.
Bronn becomes a knight, which is still kind of weird. Yeah, and then there's this
Just one of
whole
those
thing
Game
with
of Thrones moments,
Davos.
man. Like where
Yeah.
it just goes from really quiet to chaos, and something that you feel like is building up into this big battle just ends in the blink of an eye.
Right.
And it's just like this is in season 2, kind of towards the end, and it just sets the tone for epic moments like this.
Yeah.
That
Well, also
Game
that
of Thrones just doesn't play fair sometimes.
Yeah, that also put the Hound on that same kind of path with Arya, even because he saw this and he was like, "I'm done. I don't want to be in King's Landing anymore. That place can
He's
be
not
on
having
fire." Yeah.
It was in that moment Tyrion decided, I'm growing a beard.
That's true.
Oh, this is a good scene. This is where Tyrion gets a revenge on Shay and Tywin.
Lot
Shay
of
really
emotion
did him
tied into
dirty.
this.
Yeah.
And also he's going poop.
Yeah, I just love. He's like, "Oh, this is what's gonna be here on the privy."
There's a fan theory around this one that he was actually poisoned, and that he was that's why he was on the pot here, because he was constipated. So he was actually going to die anyway. I don't know much more than that though.
Yeah.
Like who it was, I just don't remember.
Now, enough of this nonsense.
Yeah, see Tyrion
Yeah.
now, he's like, I'm done with your BS, and I have facial hair now. It's more of a 5 o'clock
Yeah.
shadow.
That's what prison does.
He woke
Dude.
up early.
Dude, Shay, like, man, he was like, poured his heart and soul into her, all that, and then turns around with his daddy.
Yep.
Had to go.
Now this fight,
This is
one of those fights
this
we're
is-
all waiting for.
Yeah. Just seeing the
Brienne's
Hound
kind of
fight-
like as she's introduced, as far as like the perception of everyone around her, the audience knows she's badass, but everybody kind of treats her like shit.
That's true.
Of
Yeah.
Just like, it's just some woman. You're not a knight, just some woman here. And this is one of the defining moments where, I think in the realm of Game of Thrones, not just the audience, people go, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
She's kicking the crap out of the Hound.
Especially 'cause he's like a legendary fighter, The only person to really beat him was his brother, who is just insane, but that's a whole thing. And I see
Yeah, it's a
Brienne
great
like going
moment.
toe to toe. Yeah.
Great moment for showcasing the female strength in the show.
Pivotal moment. One of the most in the entire show. This is season 1 finale. Daenerys just reveals that she can't be burned. Right? She burns all of the. She burns all the Dothraki, then hops in the fire with the eggs. Comes out with a bunch of baby dragons.
Yeah,
which
it was,
obviously dragon sets the stage of the entire show. Her and her dragons.
it was just goosebumps. The scene. It was so cool. Because like you have no idea. Like this is one of the first times you really get to see magic in play because
Right.
you think magic is all a part of the history of this place, but in fact she's stepping out of the flames unscathed, and now there's dragons. You know they thought dragons were gone, that the eggs were stone. It was really, really cool, and it really hooked me. I think this was the moment at the end of this season that really hooked me into the rest because it's a lot of build up to like big epic moments later on down the line in the show, but this is one of those ones that like, nah, we're gonna get you right here up front.
Yeah, it was such a good way to end the first season too, where it's like, oh man, this is what's coming for the rest of the show, you know?
Oh, and you think
And
about
also
this now
awesome
with like the
moments.
foreshadowing with where it went.
Yeah. It also really
crazy.
solidifies everything that Daenerys was saying since the beginning. You know, she's like, "Oh, this chick's serious.
Yeah.
Like, this stuff is real."
Oh man, the moon door.
Oh my gosh.
So good with Baelish.
Dude, with Baelish, you knew this was coming. Like, you just like every time they're in this room, you just think there's a hole in the floor.
Yep.
There's a hole in the floor. Someone's going through the hole in the floor. And this guy just being the creepy creep conniver that he is, you knew she was going out this hole.
Oh, the turn.
Whoop.
Just the way he does it too. It's like with such disgust.
Right.
Get it away.
And you just
Yeah.
hope that when someone does something like this, like that evil, that they're gonna have their comeuppance right around the corner. But
This is a yeah.
It's burning the Dothraki leaders.
clearly these guys
And,
forgot a
Elias
few
Dothraki.
things, you know.
Let me remind you. You'd think she would use this more.
Yeah.
You know, of just kind of like, I can't be set on fire. This is really like an ultimate move here. This is a you know an alt move where she goes, oh, I'm just gonna lock us all in a room and then set the room on fire.
And that was like her only real option here too, because like they're in I think it's called Vias Dothrak. It's like their big like peaceful city. There's not weapons there.
Right.
Yeah, so that was her only way to really get rid of them and become like the leader of all of the Dothraki there.
She's burning down the old system, man.
Yeah,
Establishing the new.
they break the wheel.
It's true.
That's such a good moment.
Man, I hope they got good knees though. They're always bending. This is kind of the, you know, the culmination of everything, you know, Jon Snow was doing, because he went, you know, he was kind of undercover with the wildlings for so long, had the whole, you know, relationship with Ygritte, and then, you know, now they're finally climbing the wall, and it's just like, I mean, you know, he's at the wall since season 1, and this is kind of the beginning too, where they're talking about how the wall is impenetrable for the White Walkers, and the wildlings kind of prove that wrong right here.
Right.
You know, so you're kind of like, all right, well, these savages, these so-called savages from the north, they just ice picked up the wall and they made it, and this whole huge battle takes place. And you're talking about fighting, you know, an army of the undead. It does not bode well for you.
It does also show they do have a lot of like kind of cool ways to stop it, like the guy where he's like pointing straight down, you know.
This is a great moment for foreshadowing again, like you said, with the White Walkers showing up. Obviously, the undead have nothing to fear. They have just
Right.
numbers on their side, and so it really, really starts to make you fear for the protection of the regular realm versus the North and the incoming White Walkers. And now we're down to the moments. I'm sure everyone's going to know what these last two are.
Right.
The
Even if you haven't
classic.
watched the show.
Yeah.
Remember?
This moment was episode 1,
Perfect the way
like
you are.
waiting, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire series. People wait. Maybe not episode 1. Even episode 1 before he was king, Joffrey was like a
Insufferable.
insufferable.
Terrible human being. Terrible to listen to. I had no patience for it. And this is just one of those ones where, although gruesome, is so satisfying just because of how heinous this guy is.
And it's
It
like,
also became
honestly,
so convoluted with how it came to be, how it came to pass.
Yeah.
with the poison and how it passed hands and who did it and what happened.
They really didn't come back to it till much
Way
later in the
later.
series.
Yeah. People have matured, evolved, and moved around. The world is a totally different place by the time that we find out what happened in this moment.
Idiots, help your king!
it's kind of crazy to think
At least
that,
somebody cares for him.
yeah. It's kind of crazy to think that it
she's
was
feigning it.
still season
Yeah.
4 when
no,
this
she's
happened.
like, help him.
Oh,
This was-
man.
You're right, like halfway through the
man.
show.
Red-handed.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it, he was so hated. Joffrey was so hated too. People like wanted it worse than this.
Yeah.
I remember that, like at the time.
Jeez.
That's the beginning of a bad string of luck for Cersei and Jaime's kids.
Your king.
Really
Whoa, I
starts
just
to
found this.
lay the groundwork for who she becomes in the
Yeah.
final seasons.
Yeah, she's kind of always there. She just doesn't get the
It's true.
limelight.
She just wakes up a little bit.
This is another one that you definitely know about, even if you
I mean,
didn't
this is
watch
it,
the
right?
show.
This is
Yeah.
the
This is
moment in
the
Game
moment,
of Thrones.
100%.
The singular moment.
Broke
maybe
my heart.
Yeah, I
just
remember watching
Man.
it and being broken because I was like, okay, so when do they wake up? When's the dream sequence over?
That guy knows.
My king has
Yeah, that's, Bolton.
Yep.
Right?
Why are you wearing chain
She's
armor,
like,
pal?
Why you doing that? Why you doing that?
It's that look.
Slap. Oh man, it's brutal.
The only hope
This-
I got out of this was hoping for Lady Stoneheart and her storyline. And
You don't cross the phrase, okay? He didn't want his daughter to marry your schmuck uncle, okay? She was supposed to marry the king, and Robb Stark was like, yeah, cool. And then, listen, I know I said I'd marry her, but it's cool. I'm gonna marry this other chick that I just met, you know, it's like out on the battlefield,
happenstance,
you know. It's just like, she got my baby now, we're all cool. But you can have my uncle, right? Like that guy, and Walder Frey goes, yeah, okay, yeah.
this
No.
moment sets the
Nope,
precedent
not
for
okay.
law. Your word is
Yeah.
your binding contract. We know John's at the wall with a verbal contract. We know this situation that you just explained. Like, it starts to really, all right, yeah, consequences, man. You got to follow through. You can't just be like, yeah, just give me what I want right now. Like, something's going to happen if you don't follow through.
It's also, I mean, this is, you know, almost the end of season 3 at this point. So, you know, Game of Thrones has already proven time and time again that it's not a happy ending show. It's not the show where, you know, the hero or the protagonist always comes out on top. But I feel like this is the defining moment where, aside from the season 1 finale, this is the moment where you're like, I don't know, I stopped having expectations after this episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I go, you
No,
know what,
I get that.
I'm just going to watch the show because whatever I think or want is going to happen, it's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't have seen this coming 1,000 miles away. I was just like, whoa, it was nutso.
And I think that's refreshing too, because most shows you can start to pace out where they're going to go or how things are laying out. This show, even if it laid things out, it would sometimes just twist it on you. And I think that was refreshing. So that's it. That's our top 10. I'm sure we missed some moments. Battle of the Bastards, of course. You know, there's the Hound fighting the Mountain. There's so many good moments with this show. And if we missed any moments that you guys feel that we should have addressed, or I don't know, you guys want to talk about your favorite moments in the comments below, please do. And if you want to get HBO Max, if you want to watch Game of Thrones, rewatch these moments, see them for the first time, or any of the other shows, HBO Max is where HBO meets so much more. They have a huge catalog of content. But anyway, thank you again, HBO Max, for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys like this top 10 take. We are really excited about trying to do it, and we'll probably be doing a couple more like this down the road with other shows that we really love. So anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.